Hi there. You're welcome to my day one of 26 days of lessons in my 26 years of existence. Yeah, I'm going to be turning 26 in the next 24 to 23 days, March 23rd. I sat with myself about 2 weeks ago. Now, just reminiscing on my journey thus far, since I started to have memory of experience leading up until now, it dawned on me that I've actually been through a lot. I've been through a lot and I'm a very young person, but I've lived many lives in one. So I got inspired to share my top lessons with my community. And I know definitely that there's somebody out there whose current experience was my past. And I hope and believe that these 26 lessons I'll be sharing in the next few days will be able to bless you, will be able to inspire you, be able to educate you, be able to better you. Thank you for choosing to come along this journey with me. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you can get notified every time I drop a new episode of this 26 lessons. Okay, let's not talk too much. Let's get right into it. Lesson one of 26. God is a purpose, beauty, and order architect. God is a purpose, beauty, and order architect. So here is my experience. I remember when I was like 10, I think when I was 10, my dad and stepmom took me and my sister to the village. For a child, now in the mind of a child, what we thought to be like an adventure eventually turned into a misery. Everybody was, now you go on holiday and all that. So that was what it was like for me. I didn't know that it was it was soon going to become very heartbreaking. So we got to the village, we did New Year. I think it was Christmas and New Year. So we did Christmas and New Year. We were supposed to come back to the West in January, somewhere the first week of January. So I just woke up one day and I couldn't find my dad and my stepmom around. I was shocked. Searched for him everywhere, searched for them everywhere. And, they were nowhere in sight. And then I started crying. Like, where are they? Where are they? I mean, my sister was there too. So I was like, where are they? And I started to ask my grandma, where's my dad? Where's my stepmom? Like, where are they? Where did they go? To my shock, my grandma said they left already. I was like, you must be joking. What do you mean by they've left? I ran to the farm, right? To go and check. Maybe they were just playing a prank on me or something. It's not like any of such thing has ever happened before, but my mind was just thinking in different direction. And what exactly is going on? So I went to the farm, checked the farm, looked around everywhere. They were nowhere in sight. Came back home, went to my aunt's place that was in the village, nowhere in sight. I didn't have a phone. I mean, thank God I knew my dad's number, off head. I called them, only for me to figure that they had traveled back. I was confused. Did you forget me in the village, me and my sister? Like, what exactly is going on? Is it not that they saying we should stay there for now and all of that? I was so heartbroken. Like, really, really, really heartbroken. I felt deep betrayal. I felt disappointed. I felt really weird. Like, I felt hated. And that stayed with me for a long time. So from there, that experience started making me breathe, I started breathing hatred for my dad, like unconsciously. I didn't like that I did that. And after that experience, in like 1 week, I had to face reality. I stopped crying. Village life was totally different from, life in the city. For the first time in my life, I had to start farming. I didn't go to school for about 2 months. I started going to the farm with grandma. I became a village boy, typical village boy, right? And there was no money. I didn't have money. The food grandma has at home was not something I was used to. Stash, and, having said all and done, I started mingling in the village. I have a very, very sensitive and sharp ear to language. So in about a month, I was already starting to understand and speak, the language, the local dialect, Yoruba. I started making friends and, I figured these young guys in the village, they go doing jobs, work in other farms and they get paid. I was not used to all of this, so, but I mean, I had no choice. I needed money. I needed more money to, get by, manage to get by. So I joined them. I remember my first farming experience, went with them, and I was trying to, clear the weeds and all that. And I sustained a very, very, very deep injury. Okay. It has completely cleared off now. I almost sliced off this finger, right? Like and then, I felt horrible. I felt miserable. I remember sitting on the farm, like just sitting on the grass, and I was crying. I was weeping and sobbing. Where's my daddy? And I was just there, felt abandoned, felt betrayed, felt disappointed, I felt like my world crumbled and crashed. And it was in that place that I started to learn responsibility, even though it was not the right way to learn it, right? But I mean, I still learned it regardless. Take responsibility for myself, started managing myself. Drama sometimes can be too much. Started learning self-control, patience. Sometimes I'll be so angry, I want to run away, I want to leave. Call my dad, he'll be telling me I should be patient, I'm angry with him, right? So I was not even listening to anything he was saying to me. And then fast forwarded, I eventually got into school. I was like the best student in class, yeah? Coming from the city knowledge and the village knowledge, I have bearded people in class. I was very young then, 10, 11, right? Bearded people were in class and all that. I was the brightest among them. Eventually, it got to a point where after like 3 years, I think I spent about 2 to 3 years there. After like 2 years, I was really, really done. Like I was already getting really introduced to very, very funny lifestyles in the village. Not so good lifestyles. I trekked into the farm one of those days, and then I sat in the farm and I was crying. I already got a small phone, a button phone. So I sat in the farm and I was crying. I was sobbing. And I was looking into the heavens. I was like, God, why me? And I called my dad. I called him and told him, I can't survive here anymore. I can't stay anymore. If you're not coming to pick me, I'll just die. And then he said he'll come for me, they'll come pick me and all that. Eventually, after like a month or two, he came, picked me, and, came back home, met a new stepmom at home, like, my dad had 2 wives in the house. And I was just so shocked, like, how is this man marrying wife like he's doing business? I was confused. A lot was just going on in my world that I could not name, That was like the experience. And then my lesson, like I mentioned earlier, God is a purpose, beauty, and order architect. Even though that phase of my life was chaotic, it was in that very place I started to learn responsibility. I started to take responsibility for myself. I started to pay attention to me. How do I make progress and all of that? The work ethics I have now. I learned it there. How to, just focus. That was the phase of my life I started to learn consistency, started to learn focus. Even though I couldn't put a name to them, I couldn't say this is what I was learning. But I remember that was the season of my life. I started to learn endurance, learned focus, learned consistency. The concept of nobody's coming for you. That was the phase of my life I started to learn it. Because already I got disappointed by the very person who I think should love me the most in the world. How can you run and leave your son, in a place that he has never lived, he's not familiar with, it was really, 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 really painful. The Bible passage that actually, explains this lesson, if you go to the book of Genesis chapter 1, said in the beginning, God. So I was meditating a while ago. From my experience, I was piecing the lessons together, and it dawned on me that every beginning that will have a predictable and a desirable end has to be God. Right? If God does not begin it and continue it, He cannot end it. It's not the foundation. It will not be the building bricks. It will not be the building blocks. And it will not complete. God will not finish what He did not start. So, in the beginning, God. That line was just ringing in my head for many days. In the beginning, God. In the beginning, God. So, even though in the beginning of creation there was chaos, if you read that passage, it says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Then verse 2, the earth was without form and void. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. The Spirit of God was upon the face of the water, moved on the face of the water. And God said, let there be light. So you see, there was chaos, even though God was in the beginning. But somewhere in between the beginning, and that timeline, there was chaos, right? So even though there was chaos was not the beginning. So chaos cannot decide the outcome. if chaos did not begin it, right? God began it. Only God can decide the outcome. So this jumped out at me when I was meditating, and going through my journey, I saw that this is actually true. I've had many chaotic experiences at different points in time, right? Very, very, very bad experience, I'm telling you. I can't share everything to the public, but very, very, very bad experience. But because God was my beginning, right? God began my journey. So chaos is not permitted to define the outcome of my journey. Satan is not permitted to define the outcome of my journey. Even other people, right, are not permitted to determine the outcome of my journey, right? So God began my journey, and only God can decide and determine the outcome of my journey. So because God is the beginning of creation, so when chaos came into play, because God began it started to bring order and dexterity. It started to create, right? So through the power of creation, God started to bring beauty, order, and dexterity to creation, right? So we started to see, after the Spirit of God began to over, then God said, let there be light. And there was light. Then God said, let there be firmament. If God begins it, He will decide the outcome. Chaos did not begin your journey, right? You may think chaos did, but chaos did not begin your journey. God is your author, is the beginning of your story. The earlier you realize this and align yourself to this truth, right, the better it will be for you, because you start to live life from that, lens of all things are working together for my good, right? Whether it is good, whether it is bad, He said all things. He did not say good things. So even the good and the bad, they are working together. They are working in synergy to ensure that God's desired outcome for you, it turns out to be, what He predestined you, right? So it doesn't matter, even including your mistakes, all things, including your mistakes, right? Including your mistakes, all things works together for your good. So what this first lesson did to me is that it changed my perspective. Every time I'm going through a difficult time, every time I'm having a not so good experience, I see it as a means to an end. It can never be my end. My end can never be bad. The one who begin it did not begin it bad, right? So my responsibility, right, in maximizing this lesson is to ensure that I'm in alignment. I'm partnering with God, the author of my journey, right? Is my beginning, and He will decide my outcome. Not chaos, not trauma, not dysfunctionality, not, my mistakes. God began my journey and will decide the outcome. So I don't do life with fear. I don't do life with, uncertainty, right? I don't do life wondering if anything good can come out of my Nazareth, right? My emphasis, my point of focus is come and see. God is making something good to come out of Nazareth. I don't have control over what people think. I don't have control over how people see me. I can try to create a perception of me or, show up to be a kind of person, but I really cannot decide or determine, what people think about me, right? So it has helped my heart. It has helped my journey that God is a purpose, beauty, and order architect, right? So He is the architect of my journey. So no matter how disconnected and, disjointed all my experiences are looking, they are all missing pieces of a, bigger puzzle that are coming together one after the other, right? So I don't do life with fear. I don't do life with uncertainty. I do life with faith in God. He's a person of integrity, right? Faith in His person, faith in His word, that my God, the God that I serve, He is a purpose, a beauty, and a order architect. So this is the end of my lesson 1 of 26. I hope you find it helpful. I hope it blessed you, and I hope it engineers your faith to go through life with greater optimism and not think that the bad days are your end days. They are never your end days. They are all means to an end. God, the author of your journey, is writing a beautiful story, and you may not see it yet. So trust God, the author of your journey. Is a purpose architect, is a beauty architect, is a order architect. All things are working together for your good. I'll see you in episode 2. Bye for now.